Hello guys, today we're going to be doing a video on Dying Light 2 using the RTX 3050. We're running a Ryzen 3700X with 32GB of RAM running at 3200 MHz. Alright, let's get going with it. I'm going to start it off with 1080p on the very low quality preset. You can go into advanced. We're running DirectX 11 since that seems to be the most stable for this game, and everything is set to its lowest value. I will be trying out ray tracing as well and DLSS just to see how this card handles it. It is my first video with the 3050, so hopefully it does well. The card seems to be doing pretty well. Even at very low settings, this game still looks really good. I played this on the high settings, no ray tracing or anything, and honestly this looks very similar to the high preset from what I can remember. Oh! But GPU usage doesn't want to go above 90%. Even staring into a wall, it still doesn't want to go above 90%. Which just might be because of DX11, because I remember with DX12, the GPU uses up pretty much all its power. But when I tested it with the GTX 1050 Ti, I believe, we had a lot of stuttering issues and micro stuttering issues. It was consistent, it just wouldn't stop. Yeah, I don't have any problem with this. This is it's running pretty decently. Let's go ahead and increase it to. We need DLSS at some point as well, but I don't think we need it yet. Let's go ahead and bring it up to low quality. Already it wants us to use DLSS as well, which we don't want to use. We want to use it. We want to play the game in native at 1080p, ideally. We do have motion blur, but that's okay. That doesn't really bother me right now. But you can turn it off as well to get a little bit extra performance. Now this is a 1080p card. Most people are going to be using it for 1080p gaming, so I'm going to be spending the majority of the time playing the game at 1080p. But I will push it up to 1440p and 4K just to see if we can handle it. We shouldn't have a VRAM issue since the card does have 8GB of VRAM, same as the 3060 Ti. But already we've fallen below 60. It's not that big of a deal. It's only like 2 or 3 frames, but oh, we're getting some screen tearing as well. 54 FPS is the lowest we've seen it. Oh, okay. Didn't want to slide, I guess. But this is still a very playable experience. GPU doesn't want to go above 90%. This is not a CPU issue. This is, I think this is DirectX 11. I will test that DirectX 12 as well, just to show. Maybe they've already fixed the stuttering issues with DirectX 12 with this game. But that launch was very bad. It was pretty much unplayable with DirectX 12, you know? Everything's pretty much set to high. Some stuff is set to medium. But this should be called the high preset, since the majority of things is set to high. Yeah, the game doesn't look as crisp as it did before, so the anti-aliasing, I guess, or like any other smoothing technology caused that. And we do have a storm coming through as well, which will affect our performance. I'm gonna try to run back to the city where we tested out the other presets. And when I was actually playing this game, where I saw the biggest frame drops was in the city area. The spawn area is pretty decent, but it's not too big of a deal. This city area is a good mix of trees and bushes and towers, so it seems to cause the biggest FPS drops. Fighting didn't really affect it too much. Oh, okay, I was trying to do it, walk on the rope, but now this is feeling pretty laggy here, I gotta say. This climb up. This area here, 48 FPS. So we should probably go ahead and turn on DLSS just to see how it looks and how it performs. So it gave us a 20 FPS boost in this area, which is our worst FPS so far. 70 FPS. Pick this up. I think. Oh, it's X. Okay. No effect to the frame rate. But we're getting 43 FPS with pretty much nothing going on. There's no There's no zombies. It feels very... It's not very responsive. The game doesn't respond to my actions very well. So the strength of this card is DLSS. If the game doesn't support DLSS or doesn't have it implemented into the game, you're going to be getting around the same performance as a GTX 1660 Ti or 1660 Super, I believe. But if it does have DLSS like Dying Light 2, you'll be getting far better performance, 20 to 30 extra FPS for free, pretty much. Wow, I still can't get 60 FPS. Okay, so on the high preset, you want to move on to, wow, there's a lot of blurring going on with the grass. But if you're like doing, if you're parkouring everywhere super quick, you're not going to be able to tell probably. It all depends on the person. Like, it's all personal preference. But we can get up to 60 FPS on quality preset. But it also can easily fall down into the 50s. So I'm going to go ahead and push that DLSS up to the balanced mode and see if there's a visual impact. Honestly, not too much of an impact. I can't really tell too much of a difference, which is good since we are playing a 1080p, and 1080p is not as forgiving with DLSS as 1440p or 4K. 30 FPS is playable, not with the keyboard or mouse. The mouse movement feels pretty awful at 30 FPS, but the controller is much more forgiving with lower frame rates. 29 FPS. Now this is pushing it now. We definitely would want to have DLSS running ray tracing. I believe the ray tracing preset is also running the game on the high preset, but just with ray tracing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and enable DLSS. I don't think we can push it up to performance or ultra performance. That will not look good at all. So I'm gonna start off with DLSS quality and move it up until we get a playable experience. And already this feels much better. From 30 to 40, you get a pretty great. The game feels much more fluid, is what I'm trying to say. 30 FPS with the mouse, it feels very clunky and very stuttery, it feels like, even though the animations are very smooth. 60 FPS is ideal, but with ray tracing, probably gonna be hard to pull it off. But your average frame rate is gonna be in the mid 40s to high 40s. You're not getting a 60 FPS experience. So where you see the most blurring is in the ventilation shafts on the floor. Anything with moving parts, like grass is moving around, you can tell that it's blurring. For the static objects, like the buildings and stuff, you can't tell the blurring at all at balanced. It's not bad when he's standing still, but as soon as you move, you can see that it blurs. I don't know if you can see in the video, but as soon as you move, the image goes blurry. It's very obvious. If you look at the ground here, it's in focus right now, but I move, it goes blurry. See? Stand still, comes back into focus, move around. Stays in focus the whole time. There's no blurring at all with no DLSS. So, again, like I said before, when you set it to performance mode, 1080p, you will see a lot of blurring, much more blurring than any other setting. But the game is running much better. We're sitting in the 50s now, low 50s. Still do dip into the 40s, but at this point, if you want to have ray tracing on this bad, you're losing all of your quality that you get for ray tracing. The game is just too blurry to even be able to tell. So I wouldn't recommend using ray tracing with this card unless you want to play at 30 FPS, then or 30 to 40 FPS, then that's fine. No DLSS. Gonna expect we're gonna get 20 frames at best. Wow, I'm actually pretty on point. 20 FPS. Okay, there's actually there's input delay now. Very bad input delay. I'm pressing keys and it's not registering it. So this is pretty much a slideshow at this point. This does feel very good to play right now, but this might be because I'm going from playing at 20 FPS to the mid 30s, so anything would feel playable. 40 FPS, getting a 5 FPS boost, 5 to 7 FPS boost. What is my guy doing? I didn't want to do that. It is definitely far more blurry though. Like, I gotta say, it's like I would not want to sacrifice the visual quality just for some ray tracing. Now we're running the game at DirectX 12 with no ray tracing. Just want to see if it still has the stuttering issues that it did before. And I just want to show that once you play at DirectX 12, your GPU usage goes up to pretty much at its max level at 99%. Whereas at DirectX 11, we're sitting at 90% pretty much for every single preset. As you can see, our GPU is sitting at 99%, 98%, even on the very low quality preset, so everything's turned off, and still running at 1080p, no DLSS, and as you can see, our GPU is sitting at 99%, so it wasn't a CPU issue, it was a DirectX issue. DirectX 11 doesn't use up all your GPU power, and DirectX 12 does. And it also looks like they fixed all the stuttering and the micro stuttering issue that this game had with DirectX 12. So the game's running super smooth right now, very fluid, no lag at all, and yeah, frame rate I can't tell. Frame rate slightly improved, I believe. And yeah, I think this is the way I would play the game. I would just have the game on the lowest setting or even on the low preset, and the game looks very crispy, very sharp compared to playing on the high preset with DLSS. I'm gonna go ahead and test that 1440p as well, just because might as well do it, just to see how far we can push the card without ray tracing. And it's 1440p. I didn't save it. I'm gonna pass out. Okay, save. 50 FPS. That's respectable. 50. Running at 50 FPS native. Honestly, not bad. For whatever reason, I was expecting us to fall into the 40s or whatever. Not bad. Okay, I want to go ahead and turn on DLSS just to give it, you know, the 60 FPS experience. DLSS quality should be good enough. Look at that, 67. Wow, 60 FPS. This is still so crisp as well. DLSS at 1440p and 4K looks identical to you playing at native. So if you got a 1440p screen, you can definitely play it like this as well. No reason to play at 1080p when you can just turn on DLSS and the game still looks just as good. Wow, it's sharp. Frame rate is around the same. We did lose a bunch of FPS, even with DLSS. We're sitting in the mid 60s now to low 60s, but still a great time. No lagging, no stuttering. The frame time was bumping a little bit there, but I didn't really feel it stuttering, so that's alright. And then for the fun of it, let's push it up to 4K. I don't think this will be playable, but or playable 60, I mean. 4K. Yeah, I can tell it's running at 30 FPS now. Yeah. The game froze. The game froze. Alright. Well, that's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like and subscription would be highly appreciated. See you next time.